Welcome back to Tune to Life. So glad you're tuning in to us. Please like, share, and subscribe before we get going on today's episode. So we want to go and talk about something that, it's important to a lot of people. We know as being sort of children of immigrants ourselves and
Yep.
so on, something that's really important because the Reform Party has now trying to seduce their followers with the notion of removing indefinite leave to remain
That's right.
from people who have come here illegally or the chance of obtaining it, or some people have already got it. Now, we need to make a distinction here, which they have not made distinction, that there are people who've been here 20, 30, 40, 50 years who have indefinite leave to remain, and it would affect them. And we've noticed on TV, when they've been challenged about this, they do not make a direct response.
No, they don't.
So that means that everybody's going to be brushed up together,
That's right.
swept into this corner where who knows what's going to happen. So we decided to do a little bit of a deep dive ourselves. There's amateurs running into this, looking at some of the implications, what it means, the optics for Britain, what that might mean for the people, and how it would impact their lives. Because people aren't talking about that.
No, they're not.
Really, people talk about, well, someone been here 20, 30 years, paid in, contributed to it, what it mean for them. And you never really get a clear picture because I don't even think they know.
That's it, yeah.
They don't know. They're just saying, well, what's going to happen to them? And we want to look at potentially what could happen. And it's not a pretty picture.
It's not a pretty picture
It's
at all.
not a pretty picture. So if you're in that situation yourself where you know of people, then we're going to try and shed some light on this and try and tell people to get their acts together and sort themselves out ASAP because it's not looking good.
No, it's not.
So, they want to abolish it, as we said. Reform Party want to abolish it. That's their intention. Not make a distinction between who, what, when, where, and how. And why, really? Well, why is because they say they want to control uncontrolled immigration. Yeah, right. Okay. That won't really control it. What that's going to do is remove people who call Britain home.
That's right.
Yeah?
That's right.
Call Britain home. They're paying their taxes here for a lot of people. They're working. They've bought houses. They're renting. They maybe have a business or got their life together. And it's so important to recognize that their contribution because this country was built on the back of immigrants.
That's right, on the backbone. That's right. It is fundamental.
So you think about, and it's important to mention this, because after the war, you see, again, a lot of younger people won't really be aware of this. They might have some notion of it, but the reality is, post-war Britain, it was bleak. It wasn't good.
No, it wasn't.
Things weren't going great at all. So they looked to the Commonwealth to encourage people from the Commonwealth to come here to rebuild what they would call the motherland.
That's right.
Rebuild it and so on.
Yeah.
So people, I remember a lot of UK British men
left.
Around about 3 million people left to go to New Zealand, Australia, because things were so bad. So it's really important to note that, and no one wants to talk.
But no one wants to talk about that. That's
so it's very, very important to understand that.
Yeah.
So a lot of people left. White British people left.
Yeah.
And then there was a shortage of manpower. So they need people to come in to help rebuild the country. So what happened? A lot of people, there were people from the UK going out to the Caribbean because there were colonies already.
That's right. That's right.
And saying, look, come over. There's jobs.
That's right. Yep.
There's good work, good money.
That's right. Yeah.
We'll be welcoming you. So when people came, because remember, there's another thing to remember as well. Although it doesn't apply to a lot of people right now, but we have to look at the history of it.
Yeah.
People that came to the UK already had a British passport.
That's right, yeah.
Because they were a colony.
That's right.
I remember my mum's passport, it said British citizen.
Yeah.
And inside it said you're a British subject.
Yeah, yeah.
Part said British citizen, but it also had written British subject. So mum could come here easily.
Yeah.
And as coming here, she could bring her dependents.
That's right. Yep.
And so on, which was me.
Yeah.
Over here, no problem.
That's right.
Come, work, live, claim what you need to claim, or whatever it is. But the gross majority never claimed anything. They came to work.
That's right. Yeah.
And they did that. So remember, notwithstanding again, people from India.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
Him as well. Right? And also the Irish.
That's right. Yeah.
Came here, built this country. NHS, transport system, the roads and construction.
That's right. Yeah, very much so.
Everybody, all immigrants built this country and paid their tax and everything here, right? Only after, and then at the time when they came, they weren't welcomed. They were told they'd be welcomed.
Okay, that's right. That's right.
Officially.
That's right. That's right.
When they came,
yeah.
And in terms of people here, again, I understand what was going on. Because to remember what happened is that when people came to the UK, rental accommodation was only available in areas that were already deprived.
Right, that's right, okay.
Right? So when they came here, there was no money from the government. No one this time, come here and we're going to give you some money, benefit. Right?
Yeah.
They came with the little money that they had.
That's right.
And they had to find work quickly.
That's right.
Which a lot of them did do.
Yeah.
And were able to pay their rent. So they couldn't go into salubrious areas and rent because the rental wasn't available for them and it was too expensive. So they had to go to areas that were, deprived,
that's all right.
difficult, and rent there and then work. Now, in the middle of that, what must understand as well, I'm going to give the backdrop to this because it might sound a bit boring. I'm not going off point. It is very relevant. That a lot of people came here that were qualified. My mum was qualified. She was a qualified nurse. My dad was an accountant. But he couldn't find a job in accountancy.
Yeah.
The best he could do was to become a bookkeeper.
Oh.
That's all. That was it. Because none of the jobs, when he would apply, they saw him, sorry, it's been taken, or something like that. And he used to complain that, and he would be despondent about how he couldn't get a job based on what he had.
Yeah. What was this he did? Were there certificates kind of? Because I know I think there's some issue about.
No, there's no issue about anything. What it was is that, remember, you got to understand this. You talk about certificates and education and all that. The education
system was
English. Because remember, they were colonies.
Nice,
so the systems they used
was actually
were
aligned.
British.
Yes,
The exam papers, which I showed, my mum showed me exam papers. They were Oxford.
Yeah, okay.
Exam papers.
That's right, yeah. It's interesting, isn't it?
Right?
So it's aligned with their system.
At the time, O levels they were doing the same papers.
Wow.
In the Caribbean. Yeah? Same. So it's not an issue about that. That's not an issue.
Okay.
The thing is that they came here, they're unqualified, some were architects, some were engineers, nurses, doctors, whatever. And a lot, like I had an uncle. He qualified as engineer, then came here. Couldn't find any work. No one would give him any work. So then he tried to go to university to get a degree.
Okay.
In his time.
Can you imagine that now? Oh my gosh.
He couldn't get into it.
Wow.
So he left from here and went to Canada.
Yeah, I remember you saying this.
Right? Yeah. So the point is, going off point really, is the fact that it was hostile then to a degree. It was hostile. But because people had been through so much hardship, they decided to work hard, get their head in, and create a community to work together to do what they did. But they still contributed into this economy, pay the taxes, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what happened.
Yeah.
Then, fast forwarding on to now, we have a situation where we have this doubling down against migrants, but almost spreading that net to everybody, even people that came here legitimately and legally,
Yeah.
as well as people that came here illegally. Now, we need to make a distinction in terms of what I'm talking about, and it's important. But those people that came here illegally, well, you know, if you come here illegally, then you have to take what comes with that.
Yeah.
Right? So if they're looking to oust you, then that's on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on you. But unfortunately, there are some people who don't care whether people come here legally or illegally.
That's right.
They just don't want you here.
That's right. Yeah.
And that's what the problem is. And this political party is not making any distinction about that. They're not making a distinction about that at all.
That's a big concern, I think.
Yeah, yeah. So this is a real issue. A real issue. Anyway, so that's what I wanted to get into and look at that. So we have to look at what is indefinite leave to remain. What is it? Because a lot of people won't be really clued up as to what it is. So it's a legal statement, it's an immigration status that allows you to live and work here and gain access to all the things that a citizen would have access to in this country. So providing you're working, you're paying your taxes, you're staying out of trouble, and you can build your life here.
Okay.
That's what indefinite leave is about, right? But it's not citizenship.
It's not citizenship. No,
No,
it's like
so
one
you
down
can't
from
vote.
Yeah. Okay. So everything
you
else,
can't
but
vote.
Yeah. Okay.
And you still need to apply for a passport only via free citizenship. So you'd have to have your country of origin passport.
Okay.
So now they're not creating a clear disparity between those who come illegally, because those that came illegally on the boats, for example, would have thrown away their identities.
Yeah, so they couldn't. Yeah,
so they can't get a passport there. So they're almost stateless, almost to a degree, because they're saying they come from a country, but you can't prove that they came from that country. And then they can't get them here. So that's a whole nother ball game
altogether. Yeah.
But when you throw people of that status in with people with definite leave to remain, that in itself is criminal. That itself is wrong. And saying you're going to give it away, or not give it away, throw it away, is not good. So yes, it is a real problem. And I think that indefinite leave to remain, when someone's given that, before we get going really, you're given that because the state makes a promise to that person. It's a promise that as long as you contribute, pay your taxes, live here without making any trouble, you will have access to healthcare, education, safety, and you can live here indefinitely without having to renew visas and all those sort of things.
That's right, yeah.
And after a period of time, you'll be able to apply for citizenship.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah. And that's the contract. But to take it away, we're going to get into that, is a whole different ball game. There are implications to that. But we'll go into that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think there's, it would reshape things as we know it. It would create uncomfortable questions that people would have to answer themselves. People with 20, 30, 40 years, it'd be difficult. They could lose their homes, they could lose their jobs. Their future will be in question, a big grey cloud over their future. I mean, can the government can the government really do that? That's the question. Can they really do that? It's, but we're going to explore that.
Yeah.
We're going to explore what we found.
Yeah.
At least. Because no one's really looking at the human impact. That's a real problem. No one's looking at the human impact. But anyway. So, what happens to those people who've already got indefinite leave to remain? And there are around more than 2 million people in the UK today who hold indefinite leave to remain.
That's right.
Over 2 million.
It's a lot of people,
A lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people. And hear this.
Yeah.
Be clear about this. Let's be clear. When you say indefinite leave to remain, it would conjure up ideas of people working in factories, warehouses, just doing ordinary little jobs, or just doing all little things. No one really thinks about this. I've got a list here of jobs that
people,
includes those people.
okay.
They're teachers, they're doctors, taxi drivers, entrepreneurs with businesses, mothers, grandparents, people who live there for decades, people that own a number of houses, provide rental accommodation for many, many people, people that employ maybe 10, 20, 30, 40, 100 people in their business. We're talking about people who are doing very well. Yeah. And there are all sorts of, you may say, well, why haven't they applied for citizenship then? Why haven't they done it? And we're going to get into that as to why that may not be or pose a difficulty for them. Yeah. So we're gonna get into that. So, you know, there's a real problem in its own right. I mean, I'm sure there's some things you want to bring in to here.
Yeah. I'm thinking about more
the stats of
stats. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the stats.
What have you got?
Okay, some stats. Okay. So in terms of stats, I was looking at the current temperature of the country, kind of getting to get a gauge of in terms of how people felt about the kind of whole leave to kind of remain situation. And so scrapping indefinite leave to remain, 44% support ending indefinite leave to remain. So 4% were in
Make that
support.
clear. Sorry, I'm
Sorry,
not
sorry,
very
sorry,
clear.
sorry. 44 were supported of
44.
4%. Yeah,
Okay.
were supportive of ending indefinite leave to remain. Yeah,
Right.
Against 43 that were opposed that. Okay. Now it said that support for removing indefinite leave to remain from those who have already been given permission to reside permanently in UK fell to 29%. Now, we also had that amongst those who seek to end the granting of indefinite leave to remain, only a minority of 41% agreed with stripping permanent residency rights from those that had already granted them, which is, and so this is which I thought was kind of interesting. So the survey found that there were three-way choice whether people's certain groups of indefinite leave to remain recipients should continue to be allowed to stay permanently, B, have to apply for a temporary visa, or C, made to leave UK. Now, the majority of the public want to continue allowing permanent residency. That's what they were saying. For those who have lived in UK for over 10 years, those who work full time, those that are kind of paying taxes, NHS, which is what we talked about earlier on, those that are married to a British citizen with children, who have their own businesses. They were in favour of those kind of people staying, okay?
Yeah, but they're not making that distinction.
Yeah.
That's the problem. They're not
Making
making that distinction because when they were challenged on it, but what about people who've been a long while, they skirt around it,
that's right,
and say that, if then that's good. That's what we need. We need people coming here
That's
who are
right,
doing this.
yeah.
They don't really talk about, no, if you take away indefinite leave to remain,
that's right.
There are real big problems with people that are already here.
That's right, yeah.
And have not, that goes to show, there's something else in it, which will come on to
Yeah.
It goes to show that they haven't thought it out.
No,
It's not been thought out at all.
And I think possibly, although they've thrown it out there, I don't think the kind of the devil in the detail hasn't been done yet.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not been thought out. It's not been thought out.
So it goes on to say, older generations, those who retired pensioners with indefinite leave to remain, or those that remain status have been here for 20 years, should stay permanently. 49% agreed that it should stay. 26 that they should apply for a visa, which for me didn't kind of make any sense in terms of like given their status. 9% said that they should be removed altogether. Now, the the thing about this actually is this. When we talked about a different nationality, okay, so we talked about the view of Ukrainians, okay. Now this is where it changes. The landscape changes. 44% said that they should be allowed to stay permanently, okay, whilst 43 said that they should stay on visas. However,
3%,
43%. However, 5% said they should be removed. 5%.
Yeah, so it's a big disparity. So it's how people see immigration, isn't it? It's how people see it, and that's portrayed, and the general consensus about the issue. because let's get to the bones of this. Yeah, when you see the boats, the people in the boats,
That's right.
yeah, these people are whatever. They look visibly different.
Of course they do. Of course
A
they
mixture of people from who whatever they want to describe themselves as, but they're visibly different.
do. They are. That's
Yeah,
right.
they're visibly different.
Right.
Visibly different. Those speak a language, different religion,
Religions,
different customs,
That's
everything.
right.
Just very, very different.
That's right.
And so when you have a situation where the news reporters are reporting that yes, these migrant hotels and so on, and there is, and you got to sort of like look at this, all right? And I don't get this correct. Look, there's so much to this, and I'm sorry if we seem to be all up because there's so many strands to pull together.
There is, yeah.
Because in terms of the public's response,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
This is what is so amazing about this time. There is so much going on in the UK at the minute. It's really hard to put it on. We're going to miss some things. I'm sure you're going to come up with lots of great things that we've missed, but we're trying to do our best. But it's about the public's response to illegal migration. Yeah. Now, most people are going to agree that it's not good. Illegal migration, is not good. But there's another side of this as well, that if somebody is escaping, war, torture, potential death, then you have to look at that differently.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, the gangs that encourage them to come over say pay whatever you pay, but you get rid of your passport and details. Now that creates a problem for the person coming because they're unable to prove who they are and where they're coming from, and that creates another issue for us here, being able to say, well, okay, who are you? Are you a criminal? Are you this? Are you that? Who are you? What about your past? We don't know. So these people come in here, we don't know anything about them. That poses a challenge. Now, from my perspective, the government, or all governments, have never dealt with it properly.
No.
Never, ever dealt with it. They've dealt with everybody being legitimately running away from problems. Yeah, and that's not always going to be the case. I don't know what the numbers are. Obviously, there are going to be people, yes, who are definitely running from those things that I mentioned. They're definitely going to be, but there are going to be people who will be trying it on, need to get away.
Yeah, of course.
I think probably maybe ex-convicts, maybe part of a gang, maybe terrorists. We don't know.
No,
maybe, who knows? But there's going to be a huge mix of people who are coming in and doing what they do. Now, that being said, they arrive here. The government, I believe, is dealing with it incorrectly because the optics is really bad. You get them into a 4-star hotel. I mean, really?
I know,
if you want to rub people up the wrong way,
know,
shove them in a hotel where we have people. See, this is the other side of it now, where people are working here.
That's right,
paying their taxes, doing fall on difficult times. Excuse me. Either get their house repossessed if they've got a mortgage, or lose their accommodation because they can't pay the rent. Then have to go into temporary accommodation, and sometimes temporary accommodation isn't even available.
That's right.
They're sofa serving or sleeping in their car or whatever. And then you hear people coming over on the boats, going to a 4-star hotel, and from what we see, getting these lovely 3 meals a day. Really nice food. That does not look good.
No, it doesn't look good. No.
And it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I understand it, but it doesn't make any sense.
I think it'd rub anybody up the wrong way, I think.
Exactly.
Without a doubt.
So this is what creates that anger.
That's right, yep.
Well, not creates the anger. I think it doesn't create the anger, in my view. I think people are already angry at their life and how things are. What it does, it stirs the pot, rubs them up even further away, puts salt in the wound. That's what I think.
And now you get a response from that.
Yeah, and people get angry, and justifiably so. But there's two sides of this. There's one side that when you are a balanced thinking person, a person that's be able to look at things analytically and try and look at a balanced way, you can understand people's upset, their discord.
That's right.
You can understand it. However, some people don't have that capacity to look at things in an analytical way and have a broader perspective. They have the either is black or white,
Right, that's right.
and they
Yeah.
say, "I hate it. It's horrible." You know, burn the lot of them,
That's
get
right.
rid
That's
of
right.
them.
That's right.
They'll be looking at it in that way, which is wrong.
Yeah.
But that's how some people
Those
feel,
people.
and that's how look at it. But then again, there are a lot of people in this country who just hate to see anybody different anyway,
That's
and
right. That's
have
right.
always
Yeah.
hated that. They've come from a family of haters.
That's
Their grandparents hated when, for example, black people came here. Then the kids from those parents hated
them,
that, right?
yeah.
And those kids come up now who don't like it. So there are
Yeah.
going to be
Yeah.
generational
Nations of that.
haters
Yeah.
who hate it anyway. So
Yeah.
no matter what you say to them,
Yeah.
it won't change their perspective.
Positive. Yeah.
Yeah. So really what's happened, the government are playing into that. The government are playing into the hands of, say,
yeah.
People, reform voters.
Yeah.
Now, in that, it's very important to note. There are a lot of people say, I'll vote for reform. I'm not racist. And it's not about. See, this is the crazy thing. People will say, "Oh, I'm voting reform. I'm not racist."
Yeah.
It's not about you being racist.
Yeah.
It's about what the party will represent and what are they doing about their policies. What will be the impact of their policies and how does it look? How will it impact ordinary people?
That's
and
right,
that's
yeah.
what some of the people who are voting for reform don't care less about. They see it as a black and white issue. For example, some people say, we're voting for reform because they will actually do something at the boats. They'll remove people from the boats, they'll do this, they'll do that. But at the same time, if reform is saying we're going to get rid of indefinite to remain, and we're going to get rid of this policy, which is there to protect the rights of people of color who experience, racism through institutional bodies, and you get rid of a piece of legislation to protect people from that, and they said we're going to get rid of it.
That's right, yeah.
Then you, as a person who don't deem yourself as racist, are voting that in without looking at the fine print.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, it's like signing away something. Yeah, I'll sign for that, but you didn't read the terms and conditions.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the problem. So so in a roundabout way, you can't say some people who are voting for reform are racist. No, they're not. But what it is, they're not looking at the finer details of what that party is about. Then on the other side of that, you have Labour. Labour playing into their hands, trying to compete with reform, and then doing some things that you just have to think, oh my gosh, wow, what the hell? It's mad. Like, for example, what Labour's done is increase the period of time from 5 years to 10 years before you can get indefinite leave to remain. Which is, why are you doing that?
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
Why is it necessary to do that? Why? Because if you have a body of people that came here illegally, then you need to be saying, right, okay, we can't work out where you're from. You came here illegally, so therefore we're going to send you back to where you're going. End of story. End of story. We can't work out. You're saying you're coming from a country where it's war-torn, wherever it is. We don't know that.
That's right.
You came here illegally, send you back. That's my point of view. Yeah. That's just my point of view. Yeah? And that, in that process, if you take that process in, you'll then mess up the gang's business plan or their business structure. You'll mess it up. Now, the thing about this is that in doing that, you will then take away the wind from the sails of the people who are disgruntled about it. Yeah, that's the thing. You take the wind out of the sail. Now, and on top of that, if you are then putting, I mean, I don't know, this government, there's something wrong. There's something really wrong. Because if you're taking over a hotel, like a Force Hotel in Canary Wharf, I mean, really, Canary Wharf, You're putting 100 people, commandeering the whole hotel, filling it with migrants. I think about 1,000 or 2,000 migrants, whatever it was, or where it was, several hundred.
And that's at Canary Wharf, was it?
Near Canary Wharf,
yeah. Oh my goodness gracious me!
And then there's a process there, and then we'll do that in Epping as well. So
yeah, I'm aware of that.
But now, then check this out.
Yeah.
Now they've stopped doing that. They want to stop doing that. Stop using the hotels. Now here the kicker. It is a kicker. So you're making it harder for landlords now to rent their properties, bringing in these laws.
I've heard this actually. I saw this
now you're making it harder. So landlords are leaving the rental market. They're selling up properties or thinking, what can they do? Because renting to ordinary people, you see, you can't make this stuff up.
Yeah.
They're thinking, well, if I rent to an ordinary person, I'm going to have to pay national insurance, I'm going to have to do this, I'm going to do that. It's going to get harder, it's going to be more expensive. I can't afford to rent. And we're talking about people with 2-3 properties, not about 30-40 properties.
Okay.
2-3 properties. They think, I can't afford to do this because they're living off
that
income.
Yeah.
And that income isn't loads of money. That income's not loads of money. Yeah, that income's not loads of money. Let's get that straight. Because some people believe that, landlords are making tons of money. No, they're not. They're not making tons of money. Yes, they'll make money on the property value going up, but property values are actually coming down. But the point is now, they're not making loads of money, and they're thinking, if we have to pay extra taxes and fees and this and that, it's just not lucrative in any way, shape, or form. It's not working. So what are they doing? The government are now saying, right, you know what? Rent your properties to us
this year,
and we'll pay you shitloads of money if you rent to migrants. So they're going,
great, this is great.
I can pay my national insurance and I can still get a little bit more than what I would have got renting to ordinary people. So what you do, you take the properties that are there for people that are working and trying to do the right thing. You take the properties away from them and give it to the people who are illegally. How does that make any sense?
People are going to be, let's say disgruntled. I say that lightly. I say that lightly. That's
and then this is what the problem will be. They'll take on these 2-year, 3-year, 4-year contracts. They'll do that, right? Until they're able to sort out the problem. So this is a problem, the back end of it. When they sort out the problem and they actually say, right, okay, we now curtailed migrants coming, illegal migration, we've curtailed it. What do you think those guys are going to do? They're going to say, right, okay, I'm selling the property now. And the property will be completely off the market. And there'll be a housing crisis because they're not building enough homes. They can't really build enough homes because there's lots of issues. And which I'm not getting into because it's not what we're talking about. There are lots of issues with that. So it's silly. What's happening is a complete mess. And if a party comes in, right? Let's say now reform comes in. And in their infinite wisdom, they say, right, we're going to ship back all these people out of the country, go elsewhere. Probably if they do that, it's not going to be that easy because you have to get out of Strasbourg and the Court of Human Rights.
Yeah.
So, okay, you leave, there'll be issues in leaving, it'll be difficult, but if they manage to do it, you then have to rewrite the UK's Bill of Rights. Because it's entrenched, the Human Rights Act is entrenched in UK law. So that's going to cause a lot of problems. So we won't get into that. But I've got it written down here somewhere. There's so many things. But before I go into that, I just want to go into here. Yeah.
That sounds...
Right. Look at this now. Give me a second, because unless you've got something else to bring up, because it took me a while. To get this.
So, got it.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, and I was thinking about you're talking about obviously illegal people coming over and how difficult it would be.
No, we've gone over that already. We've gone over that bit. So I'm talking about the legal outcomes.
Outcomes,
So if because I've got it written down here because I
Okay.
can't remember it all.
Okay.
So forgive me, guys. So the legal outcomes, if reform were implemented and they tried to get rid of it, so there'd be judicial review challenges arguing the violation of legitimate expectation. That'd be one thing. There'd be human rights claims under Article 8 of the European Convention of Human Rights. Yeah, the right to private and family life.
Wow.
There'll be international backlash affecting migration treaties and trade relationships as a result of that.
Wow. A bigger kind of
Yeah. Because we have a trade relationship with India, for example.
That's right. Yeah.
And so, hear me out on that alone.
Yeah.
Which you're going to bring in a minute. I know, but my point is this: people who come from India, India does not allow dual citizenship.
That's right.
And if reform were to come in, they would want people to be
pledge allegiance to them,
UK,
like US,
and not hold dual citizenship.
That's right.
So there'd be a disparity between the two. So if that's the case, that potentially could damage the trade relationship that already exists. Because you'd then be saying to people, right, you're on indefinite leave to remain, and that's because people want to keep their Indian citizenship. So they'd have to choose one or the other. So if they renounce altogether their Indian citizenship and take on the British citizenship, a lot of the things that they do in their country wouldn't work.
That's right, yeah.
For example, you have Tata owns Land Rover, Jaguar Land Rover.
Okay, who's Tata? Sorry, I don't know.
They're an Indian company.
Okay, I'm
right? And therefore British Steel as well.
Okay. Wow.
So that might cause some issues. So there are loads. I'm going to get into it all, but there are loads of issues you can see that will come up as a result of that.
Okay,
so
that's quite interesting.
Yeah. So this is what, and then there'll be human rights claims, whatever. So there'll be so many issues, and just looking at this now. So back to individuals, people. I want to cover this. If people are pushed to naturalize as a citizen or move their status, there's going to be a financial implication for the people on indefinite leave to remain.
Right.
And remember, we're in a cost of living crisis at the moment.
That's right.
Things are really difficult.
Yeah.
So in 2-3 years' time, if they get in, things won't get better in that time. We'll probably move into more economic difficulties. So think about this, right? Adult naturalization is about £1,735 per person.
Okay.
That includes £130 ceremony. So for 2 adults, so we're talking about 2 adults and 2 children, just a family, all right, of 4. 2 adults, 2 children, £1,700 for each. That's £3,470 for 2 adults, right? Then there's a Life in UK test, which is £50 per adult. That's £100. Then it's 2 children under 16, £1,200 per child, equating to 2,428 because it's £1,214. So that's £2,428 for 2 children. Then you got to include in that passports. Adults, £94.50 each. Children, £61.50 each. £312 again in total for the passports. So there's a one-off cost just for naturalization.
Yeah.
For a family of 4 of 6,310. Now, where's that money going to come from?
Wow.
Where's that money going to come from? If they're already struggling, they're a struggling family.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, I think that was...
Yeah. If, for example, imagine they're on universal credit. Where's that money going to come from?
Yeah.
There's no help. All right? So that's a real problem. Right? So a ballpark with other, and if there's English language tests and this coming in, so you could have upwards of 6,310, but it could be 6,600 or it could be 6,900, right? So if indefinite leave to remain is scrapped and they're put on and they're not eligible for citizenship, so that's the worst one. So if they scrap it, but they're not eligible because obviously there could be a situation where they may have been here for so long, not a citizen anymore in their own country, and they can't get citizenship here because of some reason,
Yeah.
some extraordinary reason, and they have to now go on to a temporary visa or some
Yes,
sort of
it's
work visa,
yeah.
whatever it may be, that they put on. Check this out. It's crazy. Now, the reoccurring charges would be incumbent on the visa period. So the visa could be 3 years or 5 years, whatever it may be. So
Yeah.
every 3 or 5 years, they'd have to pay this amount.
Yeah.
Every 3 to 5 years, they'd have to be paying this amount. So adults will be paying per person, man, we're taking a family of 4. Adults were paying £1,035 per year. So if it's 2 adults, that's 6,210 for 2 adults over 3 years. Yeah? So every 3 years we'll be paying that.
A lot of money, isn't it?
The children, we've got 2 children, they'd have to be paying a surcharge again, yeah, of £776 per year, which would be £4,656 for 2 children over 3 years. So that surcharge, the health surcharge, the total, subtotal, for 3 years is 10,866. Now, if they're not on good money,
yeah.
where's that money coming from every 3 years?
That's right.
Right? And then a visa application fee. Remember, you have to pay a visa application fee because every 3 years you have to pay a visa. So on top of that, you have to pay £885 per person. So for 4 people, it'll be £3,500. So every 3-year period, you'd have to pay 14,406. So if it came in now, right now, every 3 years, a family of 4 would have to pay £14,406.
That's just
That's
affordable, isn't it?
crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts. That's crazy.
How could they afford that?
No, they won't be able to afford that. That's what
Yeah.
happened with it. Yeah.
See?
Oh, and that will drive them home. That will drive them back. Yeah, home.
Yeah,
There's no doubt about that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Yeah. It's funny actually because I was talking to
On a 3-year cycle. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And imagine, think about this, right? If you, that's a crazy financial burden. If you now, that's 2025. So when they bring it in, or if they were to bring it in, okay, the fees would be more expensive.
Yeah, they would be.
So people would have no choice. Because every 3 years paying that, or the one-off is about 10 grand. So if they doubled it or went up by 50%, where'd they get the money from? That'd be really, really tough.
No, it would be really tough. I was speaking to someone actually. So, a gentleman he's from Albania, and he came across actually. He's been in the country 14 years, and came across illegally. He said, but he was able to get his indefinite leave to remain, and yeah, sorry, yeah, they able to get his indefinite leave to remain, and was planning, kind of done a test, and was planning to get his citizenship. Now, I think there was some kind of policy that come into place, I think in the 10th of February 2025 of this year, basically saying that, look, people that have come over illegally, they can't get their citizenship. So, given that situation, he's now like, I want to get my citizenship, but this is now difficult. I can't get my citizenship. And it's going to cost me, as you said, as you looked at those fees, a lot of money, you know? And, he was saying that, look, I've been in this country for 14 years. He goes, I haven't. He goes, fair play, I've come over illegally. But he said, I haven't accessed any benefits in all that time, even when COVID was hitting, where many families had to lean on the state, the welfare state. He said he didn't access any benefits of any kind. He said, I've paid my taxes. And he goes, those taxes aren't cheap. He said, they're a lot of money. And he said that, he goes, he goes, the crazy thing is that, I feel like, I should be kind of given a chance. Now, he said that he goes home to Albania about probably 2, 3 times a year. And he says that the crazy thing is, he goes, out there they've got kind of a better life balance, whereas over here it's kind of more,
Work-life
yeah,
balance.
more so work life balance, yeah. Whereas over here it's more kind of working hard and taxes, he says. And it was interesting because he said that, his friends that were over there are now in other places, other parts of Europe. And he said that they're kind of now dispersed over there. And he said that now, given that he's been in this country 14 years,
Yeah.
it would be, going back would have to be like restarting again. And he's like, that fears him. He's really scared about that possibility of actually having to start again and
Mm.
start afresh. And so ultimately, he's I suppose he's now thinking, well, look, I have to stay here, but if we look at those figures, if those things were to take place,
Mm.
perhaps he'd be forced to go back.
Well, it's a difficult one. It is a difficult one. I think it's really, but that's the sort of thing that if people do come here illegally,
Okay.
that's what they're facing.
Yeah.
That's the outcome. That's the difficulties. You know, but again, for those people with indefinitely to remain under the current policies, I'm going to look into that a little bit. Um, but if someone has definitely to remain and cannot get citizenship, or because of whatever reason,
Yeah.
if it were withdrawn, these are some of the issues that would happen. So, indefinite leave to remain holders may have a mortgage. So, without legal status, their bank accounts will be frozen, loans could be recalled. Selling a house would be hard if their visa status is in question. Even selling it, yeah. Long-term residents could face foreclosure or forced sales, yeah. So there'd be real problems, So they may face sort of like a removal order. So can you imagine being in your 60s or 70s,
70s, yeah.
yeah, living here the whole of your
Your
adult life,
life, yeah.
suddenly being turned to return to a country that you left 40, 50
40
years
years
ago,
ago.
where you don't own anything, you don't know anybody, you may not even be able to use that language very
Yeah,
well
yeah,
anymore. So it's not just a legal question, it's about identity.
yeah.
Because you may identify as being British now.
That's true. That's a good
So
point.
so
That's a very good point,
therefore
actually. Yeah.
your identity is no longer where you've
Yeah,
come from
yeah,
as a child or a young adult.
yeah.
So if that were to happen, you'd be de facto statelessness would be the issue for you. And that would be a hard thing, you know? So it would undermine entire sort of local communities,
Cities, yeah.
um, family breakups. The disruption will be just unbelievable.
And
But
actually,
I think
yeah.
there'll be some legal condemnation of it. There'll be legal challenges on it. I don't think it will be that possible. I mean,
Okay.
look at this. Yeah, yeah. If it were to happen, or try to,
Yeah.
right? So when someone's granted ILR, it's not just a casual permission; it's a settled right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it is. And the state can't really just arbitrarily revoke it if they wanted to, because then let's suppose someone broke the law or whatever it is, but they've been breaking the law themselves. You
Okay.
know,
So there'd be some
so
kind of response, some
mm,
not necessarily responsibility, but the accountability in terms of them
yeah,
just doing that. Okay. All right.
yeah. So there are loads of
Because the wind,
issues.
yeah, because the Windrush was kind of very similar to that in some aspects, was it not?
Yeah, very similar.
Yeah.
Where people were stateless because you can't send somebody back to a country they've never been to,
This was before. I know. It's
and
just,
in some cases, some of the uh, um, people that came when they were babies, it's
yeah.
like months old.
That's absolutely crazy,
You
isn't
know,
it?
so it's. I'm gonna try and find out the actual. I've got that here.
Because I think there was a number of people that actually that went back and still haven't come back again. In fact, let's say disappeared. They haven't found
Mm.
them, have they?
No,
over there.
Yeah, a lot of people were removed.
Moved, yeah.
And when they were removed from here, they went back to their country, which they knew nobody.
I just,
And they were living on the streets.
can you imagine?
And they can't find them.
That is just absolutely just.
So they could be dead. I mean, it's really bad, and it's not been fully covered. It needs some investigation,
yeah,
really.
it does need. It definitely
You know,
does.
it needs like panorama to go and investigate what happened to the people that were illegally and incorrectly removed from the UK.
Yeah.
What happened to them, and what happened to the people here whose lives have been drastically changed? Did they receive their compensation?
I know some.
What happened? Because some of them were working, lost their houses, had their bank accounts frozen, all those things, you know.
And I'm sure just a little while ago, I'm sure I read an article that there was people who are still waiting for money to be paid as a result of the compensation.
That's what I'm saying. I just said that. There's some people just have they received it.
Yeah.
So there needs to be some investigation about that. Yeah. But it would be really, really bad, you know, if that were to happen. I think it'd be awful. But we're sort of we're coming to the end of what we've got here. But I think the thing is that we need to sort of round up here, because it is a terrible thing. I think there'll be a diplomatic backlash if they were to do it. The Commonwealth wouldn't view the UK in the same light as it is. I think it would damage Britain's reputation. You know,
in international relationships.
Yeah. I don't think it would be something that it could really, really, really do. And it may be then why they're saying it, and I think they're doing it to seduce.
You said the seduce. Yes, seduce is the right word. Actually, is the right
people
word.
Who are anti-immigrant.
Yeah.
People who are, let's face it, are racist, unhappy about their country changing. Maybe reformers taking advantage of the fact that the present and previous governments never really understood communities and never did proper town planning about where they would put people and how they would help integrate people into communities. That was never done, because you were putting people into deprived areas and depriving the area even further with more people that need help. Because we're talking about access to wealth, aren't we? We're talking about people who don't have anything. If you put in a local area it's deprived, we know people that have access to wealth anyway, and you put another 1,000, 2,000 people in that area, in that economy, it's going to drain GP services, it's going to drain whatever schools and so on, whatever places, and it's going to make people feel more unhappy. And if you do that, you create discord and unhappiness and discontentment for people.
That's right.
Right? So the government didn't do that properly. And if they did put people in the area deprived, then regenerate that area. You know, build more schools.
Yes, yeah.
Put more health services. Put more GPs there. Why is it now in this country there are no doctors? I'm trying to understand why there's a shortage of doctors. I'm trying to understand that.
Yeah.
What? I'm not such. Hold on. I'll rephrase that. Sorry, guys. I'm going to rephrase that. I'm rephrasing it. Sorry. Not a shortage of doctors. There are doctors who are unemployed.
That's right. Yeah.
How did the UK get to a situation where there are unemployed doctors? And you have nurses who are just leaving.
Yeah.
You got teachers. In actual fact, they will say we're recruiting teachers, but if they recruit, for example, 30,000 teachers, you've got 35 to 40,000 teachers leaving. So although, yes, you're saying we're recruiting 30,000, every year we're recruiting 4,000, and we're increasing those numbers,
we're in a deficit.
There are more people leaving than you are recruiting.
We're in a big deficit at the moment.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because the circumstances are so bad, and because they're not earning enough money. They're not earning enough money. Yeah, they're just not earning enough money. resources, cutbacks, years of austerity, etc., etc., etc. We won't get into that, but that's a reality. So we need people in the care industry. That was a big issue, and it was blown up during COVID. That there were like 100,000 vacancies after we left from Brexit. 100,000 vacancies in the care industry. And all of a sudden, these vacancies have suddenly all been filled up. It's all good. And it's not. It's a real big issue. And now saying we don't want people with low paid jobs. We want more skilled people. Really?
I know.
So where are the care workers going to come from?
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah? Where are the nurses going to come from?
I know. It's just ludicrous.
Yeah? Junior doctors getting paid what? Is it 50 grand a year? 40, 50 grand a year? People aren't wanting to qualify as doctors anymore because someone will know, oh, I know Bill, I know Jane, I know Harry, I know Samantha. She's a qualified doctor. She's not working. She's now working in the city or doing something else. There's no work. So people aren't going into it. So it's a mess. It's a real mess. So we need people. And we do need immigration, whether people like it or not. You need immigration because there are people going to come over, and they may not come over as qualified doctors, qualified nurses, or scientists, engineers. They may not come over as that. But they may well have the intelligence and the ability and the potential to be that.
That's right, yeah.
But if you don't bring them over, you never know. That's right. Yeah? See, that's why you need immigration, for people to work, get their foot on that ladder to develop themselves, get in a position where they can become fruitful members of society, contributing and being an asset to the country. As so many immigrants have been, so many. And people forget that. People really forget that, you know? And the sad thing is that when you find a handful or a few illegal migrants commit crimes, then they're all committing crimes.
That's the problem. I think that's the problem.
Yeah. It's like when you find a few young black boys committing crimes, and all black people are committing crimes. It's the same thing. And I don't subscribe to that.
No, I don't subscribe to that. And one thing I will say, actually, I think I will say, is that from my understanding, my experience, is that, you know, when I've seen migrant population, and that's only, and funny, I was talking to my friend the other day. Now she used to live in Dubai, and my English girl, used to live in Dubai, and she said to me that one of the problems over there, she held a managerial position over there, she said that actually the English people over there were really lazy. Now, the funny thing is that I've heard that a couple of times, being over here, I was talking to my friend the other day, and he was saying to me, that his manager is English, and he said that, he prefers, the Albanian crew that work there. He said that because they're more productive. He said that, they don't cut corners, they don't want to break every 5 minutes, which is crazy. And I think, there is a label that's associated to migrant workers being, lazy, or coming to take our benefits and all that. But actually,
that's not the case, because not a lot of them claim benefits. Yes, there are some people who will claim benefits, but most will work.
Well, that's right, and they're keen to work too.
Yeah, and what we're really talking about, what they're really talking about, is people that look different, and people that have a different religion and different practice, different cultural practice. But then that's up to governments to look at how those cultures, how they can integrate into the system. Right. And some may not integrate well because there's a huge disparity. But then it's up to you as a government to work out what you do and how you do what you do. For example, I mean, not really talking about it, but this is a reality. If you find a sleepy British town somewhere where there's, I don't know, a residency of 60,000 people, 70,000 people, and it's got your little scone and tea shop, and it's got a little this, little that, whatever it is, and then you find that over the years, through resettlement, a lot of people who follow Islam or whatever it is, pop there, and let's say they say we need a mosque to
practice
what we do.
Yeah.
Now, you'd have to carefully consider, as a town planner, whether you slap that bang in the middle of the high street, a big, huge building, but done, because that might change the feel of the thing.
Yes,
You have to be sensible with that.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, you have to be sensible with that. And any country, anybody with any common sense, you have to think about where you put that, whatever it is. And let's say they wanted 4 or 5 in the town. That might be a little bit too much.
That's right. Yeah.
But what's happened is that they've not considered these things. They've gone, yeah, build what there, put them on there, whatever, and then it's really pissed off the local people.
But why? Why do they do that? Like, because those.
Well, no one knows why.
Yeah,
no,
I was gonna say
yeah,
that's
no,
good.
no one,
You think that'd be like common sense? You know what I'm trying to say on that level. You know
and
what I
the
mean?
thing about it, you can't blame the people for asking for it.
Yeah.
I don't blame people who are Muslim building a mosque, because if the country's letting them build anywhere and everywhere, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Because if you want it, and they're letting you have it, what's the problem? You see what I mean? You're gonna do it. So it's up to the governing body. So, well, that might affect the town or the feeling of the town. Is no, why don't you build there, and you can build there, or whatever it is, or come to a compromise so that everybody's happy. Everybody can be happy. But they're not doing that, and that's what the problem is. And I can see that. Yeah, I can see that as a person of color. Yeah, I can see that, and I'm not anti anything. I'm just like, yeah, well, you know what? That's. I mean, look at it this way, right? Look at it this way. I'm going to show you something. Let's say now, right? I got a sleepy town, village, or town in the UK.
Yeah.
And let's pretend there are about 500-600 Caribbean people there, from Caribbean or from Africa.
Yeah.
And, or maybe more. And I say, well, look, I want to set up a dance hall, right? Playing my music and doing festivals and this, and I want to set it up all over the town, everywhere. But really, more or less for me,
and
my people to use.
Yes,
yeah. So I get Vibes Cartel, I get this, I get that, and people may not really like that.
That's right. Yeah.
And I might make it exclusively just really for me, really entertaining me. And the council allows me to put 4 or 5 venues up in the area where we go every time we do what we do. That's going to change the vibe of the town.
That's right.
It's going to change it. And yes, to a degree, you've got to say, well, yeah, you've got to integrate whatever it is, yeah. But hold on, do you change the whole feeling of that town? Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So that's my point. So I think it won't stop me from asking for it.
That's right. Yeah.
Why should it?
Yeah. The gatekeepers behind that actually.
Yeah.
I get you.
And if I get it, then good for me.
That's right. Yeah.
And if people want to come along and join in my party that I'm putting along, then great. They can come along, and that's great.
Yeah.
But the point is that it's down to the people of town plan to say, well, okay, fine, that might be good there. What about here? What about there? Whatever it is. So it doesn't really, you can still have it in the center, but so
it's more integrated. Yeah, and
it's integrated, but it doesn't change the whole dynamic.
That's it. Yes.
And that's what the situation is. That's what you need. That, because I mean, let's look at it, right? If you go, and there's a point. If let's say I'm just putting a point. If I were to go to, let's say, I don't know, like Italy, right? If I go to Italy, and I want to see the Colosseum, I want to see some of the ruins, I want to see some of the historical artifacts, and I want to see some of the old restaurants, just little sightseeing places that they have in Italy. But when I go there, I start seeing other buildings that's not related to it. I start seeing other things. Then I'm not actually seeing the authentic Italy, am I?
Yeah.
I'm not seeing that anymore. It's gone. So you have to understand that. It's just like, let me give an example, because I mean, that's not a great example. I'm going to put it this other way around. If I go to say, let me think of something completely different. Let's say I go to Thailand. I want to see Thai people.
Yeah.
I want to see Thai buildings.
Thai
I want
yeah.
to eat Thai food.
See
I
Thai
want to
boxing. Yeah,
see
see
what
the nature
the
and the
nature,
culture
the
of,
cult.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, of course, I get that.
Imagine I went down there
Yeah,
and
yeah,
all
yeah.
I saw was fish and chip shops, kebab shops, and this and that, and other shops. I'm thinking, like, I come to see where is the culture?
Yeah.
I would be concerned because I was like, I want to come there to see.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, yes,
So that's what you have to understand. And so you can understand people being disgruntled.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's happened here. It hasn't happened here. You can still see the Britishness. You can still see that here. You know, so I'm not one for saying, oh yeah, you're right. You know, we can't see. You can still see Britain. It hasn't changed irrevocably. It hasn't changed so much that you can't see. No, that's rubbish. You can still see Britain. But what I'm saying is, you have to understand why people get a bit funny.
Yeah.
For example, then you go down in some of the East End where there's that sort of changed so much now. It's really very, very different to how it used to be when I was growing up. So yeah, there are things like that. But immigration is still really important.
That's right, of course it is.
It is really important. And one thing I want to touch on before we finish, because we've gone way over. Oh my God, we've gone so far over, but very important. Just going to finish on this. When you have a situation where you say you are British and then you are English, why have the two differences? Because if you go to America, you're American. If you go to France, you're French. If you go to Italy, you're Italian. Everywhere else is just one thing. But here, British and English. Why? Why? What's your nationality? British. But then I'm not English. How does that work? Because no one abroad understands that.
Yeah.
And that's an issue. So we have to cover that another time, which I think is a really important point to which creates the disparity and division. It's a real issue. But anyway, we have gone way over. So, but anyway, hope we're going to make you think. And please comment in the comment section and put your views down there, because it's a real big point. I don't think it's going to come in. It's going to be too big. The administrative issues alone, in order to make it work, will be crazy. It will cost billions, and it won't be a good look around the world. I don't think they're gesturing. It won't come in. It won't work in that way. So yeah, that's another story. But we have to leave it there.
Yeah.
But thanks very much for viewing, and please like, share, and subscribe, and comment, please. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Take care. 3, 2.